Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'll be sharing with you 3 ways to receive more using the law of attraction. And I like to relate this video, and I know I say this in many of my videos, but we don't get in life that which we want, but we always get a reflection of who we are being. Now, understanding that what we experience on the external will depend upon how we feel about ourselves, the self-image we have, and the beliefs that we have, if we can change those things, we can then change the reflection that we get. Now, when it comes to the law of attraction, it's about understanding that the reality that we want to attract already exists. And that's why I explained in some of my videos the idea of parallel realities. It's about knowing that it exists, what you want to experience, you living the kind of passionate life that you want, and the degree to which you will experience it will depend upon how much you can change your, what I will quote unquote call our set point, our vibration. And the reason I say that is because we can use the metaphor of thinking of a radio. A radio tunes itself to a certain frequency that picks up the station and then receives that station and we can hear it. Now in the same way, it's about understanding that the reality we want already exists, just like the airwave frequencies already exist. We just need to tune ourselves like a radio would tune itself in order to then perceive of that airwave, in order for us to perceive of that reality. Now, what we experience in our reality of who we are being is composed of how we think, how we feel, and how we act. If we can combine these 3 things to then perceive of that reality, then as we do that, we will see the external reflection of it. So this video really is 3 ways for us to be who we prefer to be and to be that which we want to experience in order to then see the reflection. Now, the first tip I have for you guys has to do with you imagining the perfect version of yourself and matching the body language of who you prefer to be. So maybe if I were to imagine myself in the ideal reality of doing kind of what I'm doing now with sharing these ideas, maybe doing it on different platforms, I would imagine how I would look and the kind of body language, how I would carry myself, and then I would see that and begin to mirror my body language to that. And I could do that for maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day. Now, I recommend something that I found to be very powerful, and it's from watching a TEDx talk or a TED talk with Amy Cuddy, and it's about how body language shapes how we view ourselves. Now, what she talks about is what's called a power pose. And if we hold ourselves in a power pose, which is like the Superman or Superwoman, and we go like this for just 5 or 10 minutes a day, it has an effect on the hormone, like the way that our brain neurotransmitters work, the way that we feel about ourselves. It increases testosterone, decreases cortisol. And if we do that for just a couple minutes a day, it starts to change the way that we feel about ourselves. And then she talks about it in the form of, don't fake it till you make it, fake it till you become it. So the idea is that the more we do something like this to prime ourselves every day, the more we change the way we view ourselves and the more we actually start to become that. So what I recommend doing is doing that power pose for 2 or 3 minutes, maybe twice a day. And while you're doing that power pose, imagine yourself of how you would be acting in the ideal reality you want to be. Because the more you do that, the more you begin to anchor in that feeling and you begin to anchor in that set point so that we become more of that. And as we become more of that, we can then receive more because we're existing in that same state, that same radio airwave in a way. So do that for 2 or 3 minutes a day, twice a day, and see how it makes you feel. Something I do in the morning, and I do it maybe midday, like lunchtime, and I find that it helps me anchor in those positive emotions towards really embodying who I prefer to be. Now, the second one I have for you guys is understanding how we can model the beliefs of the person that we want to become. Now, once again, imagination really is what connects us to this reality, because as we can imagine it, we can then start to mimic and model how we are acting, knowing that that reality exists right now in this moment. So if I were to imagine myself living the way that I really prefer to live and the way that I will like to eventually live, but do it right now, what I would do is imagine the kind of beliefs I have. So I'd have certain beliefs about money, certain beliefs about how money comes to me. Maybe it comes through, for me, maybe it would be like events or in proportion to the amount of value that I can add to other people. It would come down to maybe my lifestyle on how I would have the right type of energy so that I can add value to other people. So maybe me going to the gym certain times a week, maybe me having a certain type of diet. As I begin to adopt those beliefs and imagine myself on what I would believe to be true, then I can model and literally sync myself up to that. And as I begin to take on those beliefs, that then becomes who I am. Now, the key to this is anytime I find an old belief come up, maybe thinking that I don't need to go to the gym or I don't need to eat like this because it's not important, what I can then do is catch myself in thinking that, and then insert the new belief of how I prefer to be. Now, this is about also understanding conditioning, because the old beliefs have a certain momentum based upon repetition, and the more I catch myself and the more I insert it, the more real it starts to come. So the second one is adopting the beliefs of your preferred reality. Maybe you want to be a painter. Maybe you want to be somebody that plays professional sports. Whatever it is, imagine the kind of habits you would have to have and then start to do that. Maybe if you're a painter, you need to know and see that when you imagine yourself, you paint first thing in the morning for 30 minutes, or you draw, or you go to art shows and get ideas and get inspired. Or if you want to be an athlete, maybe you see that the first 30 minutes of your day, you have certain habitual things that you do, but you start to see the beliefs underneath that would cause you to have those kind of actions. So maybe believing that you have to eat a certain way, you have to look a certain way, you have to do certain things to sync yourself up to that reality. Now, the third one I want to share with you is doing 2 or 3 things a day, 2 or 3 actions a day that solidify you getting closer to that reality. Now, for me, this was a game changer, because when I started to create daily videos and I started to really understand that I was embodying who I prefer to be, that's when this channel started to take off. It was through the action, and realize that action is what syncs us up with the receiving mode, because it makes us become that which we want to become. So remember, it's about thinking, feeling, and being. And part of that is the action we take, because the actions anchor in that reality. So we can do it by thinking and feeling, but actions is what really tapers us into that feeling of that reality. And the way we can do that is by simply just making it a must. That 2 or 3 times a day, you are going to take action towards that goal that you have. So if it is the, having the beliefs that you need to be a painter and you need to do it for the first 30 minutes of the day, actually follow up with that and do it. It's not just the belief, but it's the action tapered onto it. So it's simple, and it's really about thinking, feeling, and being, but the more consistently we do it, the more we will perceive of that reality. So normally we have it twisted. We're thinking that if I am able to think about what I want, I can track what's out there and here. But really, it's about how can you exist and taper yourself towards feeling, towards being, towards thinking like the ideal version of yourself that already exists. And as you start to do that, you literally start to become that. It's not about what we can get, it's about who we can become. Much more powerful. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys understand more about how to receive, using the analogy of the radio and tuning yourself to the station that you want to perceive. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, share it if you found it of value, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, namaste. All right, bye.